Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome to Jibber Jabber. I am your host, as always, Skajarmas, otherwise known as Tone Shift. Forgive me if you hear the thing clicking around in my mouth. I have a cough drop right now because we just got out of FFD6 an hour ago and I'm trying to soothe my throat. So, today I am joined by a relatively small assortment of people, but it's a good assortment nonetheless. First up, we have a Blank Page.
Heyo.
It's been a while since he's been here. Next up, we have Darkness over in the British corner.
Hey, everybody.
We have Paladin in the background, staring into your soul.
Stairs.
And last but not least, we have Hades, who is also here.
And we have no Tom, so it's just Darkness over there alone in the British corner.
One
Darkness
is the
will print.
loneliest number that can ever
What is it?
I knew
Why
it was
is
like
it
the
that
first joke to make, but
every time he's in a call, at least one time somebody has to make that joke?
all right. To be fair, I haven't been in these calls in a while.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just something that always happens.
It is the obvious joke.
That's his own fault for
We'll work on it,
Come
Darkness.
through.
Don't worry.
coming up with that name.
All right,
Yeah.
so how's everyone's week been, since last time?
Shitty.
Shitty.
Yeah.
How
I'd
come?
say
Pretty
pretty
eventful.
okay. And an exciting weekend.
My week's been fun and productive, albeit there's been a slight problem, which I should actually address before we get into our topics for today.
Oh, no.
yes, Patreon,
Um,
isn't it?
Those of you who follow me on Patreon will already, or who pay attention to the Discord server, will have recently seen my announcements pointing out that I've been having trouble with Patreon recently, namely in that I can't click checkboxes, which for the way my channel and Patreon page are arranged is borderline crippling because I need to click on those checkboxes to specify whether or not I am charging for a post and subsequently who gets access to a post. So because I can't click any checkboxes, over on the Patreon page, the most recent chapter or two of Empty Horizons are not scheduled properly. Like, they'll still go up on YouTube at the appointed time, and I was able to charge with those, so those got posted. But the regular scheduling and intervals for different tiers of patrons, that didn't pan out. So if you're like a $3 patron, you would normally get the chapter 3 days before it came to YouTube by way of a Dropbox link given to you on Patreon in the form of a tier-locked post. But because I can't specify through the checkboxes what tiers of patrons get access to which tiers of posts, I can't set that, and as such, those posts haven't been made. All I've been able to make is the immediate access post, or not even the immediate access post, just the now entering release cycle post, the one that announces, hey, the chapter's ready, and the one that comes for $1 patrons, because I don't have to specify a tier there. I can just one button, and of course the one where it gets posted to YouTube. This is exceptionally aggravating to me, and it seems to have gotten worse yesterday when I tried to post the newly recorded chapter of Bug in the Basement because it wouldn't even let me charge patrons, meaning I couldn't make it available. Yes, chapter 50 is recorded for those of you who pay attention to my Patreon page, but I am in no position to post it until that matter is fixed. So,
Bugger.
yeah, it's exceptionally frustrating for me because with how I handle things until Patreon can fix this, it's kind of crippling for me. And I know it's not anything on my end because other creators have been having the same problem. Apparently, Soviet Starfish, who isn't here this week, but some of the other creators he follows on Patreon are having similar issues. So it's something on Patreon's end. It's a site-side issue, and that means I have no power to resolve it. I can simply make the report to let them know that I am being affected by this glitch too, and wait, pray, and hope that they solve it sooner rather than later. So I apologize to any of you who use my Patreon page to listen to my readings early, or who just keep an eye on it for any news on what new readings are coming. Until this matter can be resolved, that's probably going to be sporadic at best. Here's to hoping it's not too long of a wait. I mean, tomorrow is Monday, and that's when their support centers are supposed to kick back in. So with any luck, they'll get this resolved in a timely fashion.
Yeah, but it should fix it in time.
Yeah, here's to hoping. One other
Hey,
thing I
cheers.
suppose I ought to point out here, long as we're talking about shit relating to my channel before we go into our pre-planned topics, I am coming up on the end of my battery is low. I'm estimating maybe next week or the week after I'll officially be done with it, and I need to have a story lined up to fill in the Monday to Tuesday slot. Ultimately, I can't really think of many off the top of my head I want to roll with. The only ones that are coming to mind are stories that I myself wrote, and I try to shy away from doing that, largely because of I don't want to feed my ego all that much.
Unless it's Bug in the Basement.
I only do one reading of my own stuff at a time, and Bug in the Basement currently fills that. I could, however, say 9 to that particular ruling and started reading from one of my other stories for Monday, Tuesday, just for the sake of
Or you
You could always continue the little flashes.
you see, if
hear
I
me out
start
on this.
no,
Head full of cotton candy.
no, you see, if I start recording little choices, then I'm gonna have to record the whole rest of the Little Flashes series because I am not gonna leave that shit half done. And that's 7 stories that I'm gonna have to record. No. Some of that shit is over 60 chapters long, and no. I only have so much patience. If I commit,
come on.
shut up. If I
You did it
commit
to
to,
yourself.
shut up. If I commit to that, then I'm going to be stuck doing that for years, many more years than I want to for where I want to go. I'm figuring that like once I finish up Human Nature and Their Very Own Sons, my reading of those, as well as wrap up whatever I have else surrounding them, once those are done, I'm probably gonna move on from fan fiction readings to actual professional voice acting work that pays well, because my Patreon page is nice, but it's barely a supplement to an actual income.
So what I'm hearing is the longer I stall, the more y'all get content. You're welcome.
You do not, you dare. You have an obligation as much as I do, young man.
I do. I'm working on it, I swear.
You know, you
I'm like
could
1,000 words away from the next chapter, so we're working on it.
you could just do another one of Tom's.
I definitely could. But the problem
there's-
There's another one too.
but the problem is-
none of you are
there's-
depending on it.
I mean,
Let's see
the problem
here.
is I'm not going to do any more of Change. I'm done with that. I burned myself out. I'm not even reading it in my own time, the new Change story. I'm pretty much, no offense to him or anything, he's a great writer, but I kind of burnt myself out on his stuff doing that with Change. So no more Change.
As I'm trying to say,
You could do his Fallout story.
Not really into that one. I could do The Perfect
Aw.
Rose, but that has to be complete first. I don't...
as I was trying to get here, I was gonna say you could just temporarily do your stories until you find something else to fill that slot.
Well, then he
I
just
could kick
leaves
myself
it.
into that Luna Bloodborne story.
You have 2 stories already you have to juggle, man. And again, I want
know.
whatever is on Monday, Tuesday to be complete already. The Wednesday
Right.
slot is for the 2 stories I'm willing to accept that are already incomplete, both of which are written by you.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Good times. Great times.
Oh well, we still got
Long
Jibber
times.
Jibber, I guess.
Well, I mean, you make it kind of difficult because you don't take quests.
I do take one-shot commissions, but only 3 a month.
Yes.
What I'm thinking I'll probably do is, depending on whether or not I spot anything by the time I finish up my battery is low, what I'm figuring I'll do is I'll probably just start a reading of Scarlet, give that story some visibility, seeing as it's, of the shit I've written, it's the story I'm most proud of as a standalone. Like, I put a lot of effort into making that thing, and while I'm not quite done with it yet, I am getting close. I'm like within 17 chapters of the end, and I am...
That's close.
Yeah, and I'm very pleased with what I have written personally. Like, I'm very proud of it, so I might just bypass my none of my own shit rule and just set to it.
Nice.
You said you're gonna, once everything is stone so you're gonna move on from readings here. Are you gonna completely forgo MLP readings, or just...
I'll probably still do them from time to time, but I can't really say for sure. It depends on how actively and effectively I'm able to pick up actual voice acting work. It's like it would be one of those things where I'd like do a one shot between paying projects. There wouldn't be any like long form narrative readings like multi-chapter stories. There wouldn't be any of that, and I wouldn't necessarily be beholden to a schedule like I am now. But that's still a ways off. Human nature has to be done first.
Yeah.
That's kind of the poetic thing here. Human Nature is my first reading, and I'm still doing it.
I mean, I'm still writing it. You're in the same boat I am. I'm not happy about this either, mate.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's giving me a very long time, good memory time investment.
Oh my god, I am like 2 chapters away from like leaving, like picking up where I left off so many years ago for the rewrite,
Right?
and it's like I want to strangle myself.
Speaking of
It's frustrating.
Human Nature, I listened to the finally got through to the 3 chapters that Blank wrote. And I have to say, on my part, listening to you, Tone, it sounds like you were having a lot of fun reading those chapters.
I mean, what can I say? I do have a lot of fun reading Human Nature because it's a first-person story. It's a story I am deeply emotionally and intellectually invested in as its pre-reader. I've been working on it for years, so I have a very deep understanding of the main character and the way he behaves. And generally speaking, I can get a lot more emotive and enthusiastic in the way I convey emotion with a first-person story. The problem with first-person stories is there are a fair few of them where the voice of the main character does not match my voice. If I'm doing a first-person story, with like I and me as the narration, then I want the character's voice to line up with my own. There are plenty of fan fictions that I've been fascinated by that I've wanted to do readings of, but I couldn't because the main character was Twilight told from the first person. I am not talking like this for 2,000 straight words, all right? I am not doing that. It hurts my voice enough to do. It hurts my voice enough to do it for a couple hundred. I'm not doing it for 4,000.
Oh, come on.
Shut up. I know my limits.
Sorry, the human throat has limits.
What about when you did Rainbow Dash?
What do you mean? How about when I mean, I'm not doing that either. That's even harder.
Yeah,
I love
sounds like
talking
that
like
is
this, and don't
overplayed.
get me wrong, I absolutely love it, but I have a limit,
Okay, who's the hardest of the main 6 to do?
Pinkie Pie, no question.
I knew it. I was going to
Yeah,
say.
40 savages. It's the pink
You
one.
could not put
Coming in next, Human Nature. Pinkie Pie has an entire like dramatic spiel.
No,
An entire
no.
monologue
Don't kill his
just for you,
throat,
Tony.
man. Don't kill his throat.
Lord.
Pinkie Pie has a lot of energy in
Thank
her
you.
voice.
Yes, she does.
Or
To
you
the
could
point
just-
that I
or you could just
actively
do
have to.
Raris.
It's to the point where when I'm doing Pinkie, I have to actively slow down when I'm recording her just so that the words can be heard. Whenever someone does like one of those really long
Speed up
Pinkie
the
Pie
process.
spiels, I have to deliberately pump the brakes and be like, okay, we get it. Slow the fuck down, Tone Shift. You gotta make sure the audience can understand a word you're saying. Ah, fuck. Pinkie
You can
Pie, you
always do
bitch.
Rarity, darling.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Is he pretty much the only member of the main 6, darling? That doesn't hurt my throat to know when to do. Would be Applejack, and that's largely because...
Well, I mean, it's a low-pitched voice, all frankly honest.
I think I say, who is your easiest voice out of all?
Probably Applejack.
Applejack, yeah.
Okay.
Easily
Background character
Applejack.
for the win.
Lowest
The deep
lowest pitch voice. Accent is relatively easy to fix up and imitate.
I feel insulted.
Why? Why do y'all feel insulted at insulting you? I can. I
I'm
can.
just-
Oklahoma South.
I'm just saying, as a guy who's from the South and says a country
I'm
accent
by
is
this.
easy,
Is Oklahoma South really?
Hit me with your
Yes.
greatest
Well,
sword,
well-
I dare you.
and so is
I'm out of
Arkansas.
Okay, listen here. Arkansas is a French name. I'm cultured. I go to Olive Garden on the weekends.
Of course, you.
There's no need to clear yourself, man.
I don't go to Olive Garden. It's my taste.
I go down to the steakhouse like a real Southern.
Oh yeah,
I
no, that's
really
every other
don't-
Monday.
We don't have that here. It's
I want
called
it.
TGI Fridays. This is
No,
gonna be
you're
here.
you're
Frank and
Brit.
Jenny's.
You're
Oh.
Brit.
What, so
I'm
you
sure you
say
guys don't
I
even know
can't
what a
eat
steakhouse
steak?
is.
You
Do you guys-
say I don't eat steak? I let you know, good sir. I love my food, and if I don't love it, I don't swallow.
So I feel like I know the answer to this already, but have you ever heard of Texas Roadhouse?
I've heard the
I've
name.
heard of it, but never been there because I'm
Okay.
over
Of
here.
course you haven't.
Okay, it's like one of those things, right? Because like you never think Walmart's like all over the world until it is.
Well,
But
Walmart
I-
is all over the world. McDonald's is
But I-
too. I found a
Exactly.
McDonald's in Germany, and I'm like, what the fuck is a McDonald's doing in Germany?
What were you doing in Germany?
What?
The real question is, what the fuck is doing over here? Sorry, but I do not like McDonald's.
I said blank. What was it?
What were you doing in Germany?
The
It
burgers are greasy
was a
cardboard.
trip way back in me school days.
Ah,
So,
gotcha.
What,
I want to
Paladin?
get out of country at some point. I have to. I'm
so
trying to
what
plan
you're
a
trying to
trip to
do,
Italy.
boys. I would say pirate, but no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You see, I've never left I've never left America myself, not for lack of trying, mind you. Because I mean, it's weird because I live right on the northern border.
I
Canada
was gonna
is
say,
right there.
it's right there.
I can see it if I look
You
out
can-
my northern window. It's like
You-
Canada,
I
take
think-
me, please.
I say, Skajarmas, here's what you do. You register for a passport. You go and you go and find a bus and head down to Canada for a few days,
Is it head down to Canada?
or head up to Canada.
It would be head up.
whichever.
Here's the thing: there isn't a street going there. I would have to take a ferry, and those cost moolah.
Or you can just get like a canoe, right? And
canoe.
hear me out. Canoe up the Pacific a bit. It's
Or you can
foolproof.
swim.
No, no, I have not the body
No.
for that. Cold water saps
Oh,
your
yeah.
strength really fast.
Now I think about it.
I was gonna say,
Kind of be one of the places I may go if.
I can see it. He can. I'm sure he can swim if he can.
I
if
can
he
swim, but I can't swim that far. I don't. Most people
I-
with my level of obesity can.
I believe in you. If you can constantly pump out chapters like they're freaking like just candy. Just think about he has the determination. He has
I
the
I
determination.
have the monetary obligation and motivation. What I do not have are swimmers' arms, legs, or lungs. I am a weak, flabby dick. If you put me in ocean water and tell me to swim for my life, I'm gonna drown in 15 minutes.
And to be fair,
Just get
More
a
likely
bow.
float than swim.
even with my remarkable stamina, I wouldn't make it if I
I'll
went.
give him a
to the-
raft.
Remarkable.
A game around is just a bunch of empty computer towers strapped together with rope.
Yes.
Oh man.
I wish I had rope. It would have been helpful when I had to take me freaking
You know, it'd be a great place for you to go.
from London to my home.
Alaska.
Oh, jeez.
I mean,
Okay, no joke. I
Crazy.
actually want to go to Alaska sometime.
I mean,
I've
so
been
do
to
I.
Alaska.
One
It's very
thing.
nice.
I mean, one thing. Northern Lights. That's something I want to see. 2, there's a mountain that, if you
Really?
look at it the right way, it looks like a lady lying on her side. 3, there are apparently sexy icebergs, and 4, it's cold.
I love how 2 of those can be taken as sexual.
I mean, the sexy. I mean, the sexy iceberg one was
Yeah, the
based off
Northern
of a
Lights
meme
thing.
I saw
Oof.
on Facebook.
Gets me
But
going.
but there is an actual mountain that, if you look at it the right way in the right lighting, it looks legit like a woman lying down and sleeping on her side.
We should totally.
My
make
mother,
Lumina
my
listen
mother's
to
seen
this.
it. She's been there. I haven't, but my mother.
We
has.
should totally make Lumina listen to this.
Lots of snow.
I mean, it's a real
Northern
place.
Lights,
I
One of my
know.
paradises.
It's just the way you said it, and that's the,
When
of
I
all the things in Alaska. That's
Well, when I
you
said
were
sexy
saying.
icebergs, I was making a joke in reference to a picture on Facebook I saw, where it showed an iceberg that vaguely resembled like a lady's belly leading into her thighs.
God
Oh,
damn it.
Okay.
Calm down.
Calm down.
PG
man.
here.
How about you like to talk about FFD?
Next, we're going to talk about holding hands.
You know what?
No.
You know what?
FFD 6 recap.
Yes, please. Speaking
You know-
of rope from the gamer raft, let's hop into FFD6.
Before we get into that, when you think about it, can Tone's channel really be considered PG, considering all the shit that happens to Hunter and Human Nature?
I'd say PG-13 at bare minimum.
I try not to get too explicit, so I'd say 13.
I mean,
Made the joke about saddles.
when he was,
I
there was
did make a
that.
joke about saddles.
I was
Not-
thinking more of the gore and blood when he got attacked by Timberwolves.
Details.
I mean, to be fair, there are plenty of. I mean, to be fair, if you recall, I guess we're still in improvisation because now we're talking about that now. If you recall back to Changeling courtship rituals, there were plenty of
Innuendos,
and there was even the beginnings of foreplay in the second to last chapter, if you'll recall.
There was that, and then there was Tom, who basically didn't go into detail, but made it quite clear that one chapter was soaring on Little Wings,
where Little Wing and Misty Gust went snip snip. Yes, I remember quite clearly. Thank you. I still love to poke fun at him about that.
Little bird season
Indeed.
Human nature, which I've had plenty of conversation with Blank. If he ever does do a sequel, you gonna do that too?
Probably
Well,
not.
you
I don't have this. I don't have a spare 7 years to pump into that, so probably not.
Yeah, no, understandable. I'm debating on whether or not I want to do the sequel, even though I really want to.
I mean, having ideas is one thing, but considering how long it's taking you just to finish Nature, make sure it has a perfectly satisfying ending and can stand completely fine as a standalone on its own story.
He's got a point there.
Oh,
It's a
I'm gonna
thing-
try my best to.
Like you need to make sure that it has a satisfying conclusion and can stand on its own.
I mean,
if you don't, then you're never gonna finish the fucking storyline. So make
And then
sure it
there's-
can stand fine on its own.
Dude, I'm
And
trying
then
my
there's
best.
all the other
For sure.
stories that you keep trying to get going, like the Luna Bloodborne one, and then
Yeah,
the
no, so the thing is,
Sunset
I
and Dark Souls
totally
2
do
one.
that. It's just I start going on that, and then next thing I know, everyone's saying, "Hey, what about human nature?" I'm like, oh.
What about human nature? And you even threw out a chapter of Their Very Own Sons recently, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yes,
he
I
did.
did.
I get to record that next coming Wednesday, and that's going to be a fun time because I have to go back and remind myself of the voices of so many of the characters because it's been a year.
Yep.
True.
There's
sure has.
there's Gertrude. There's a bunch of griffins that I don't remember the names of. There's some ponies I don't remember the voices of. I
If you
got to
think
go
of a
back
word that
and
starts with the G. It's probably a griffin's name.
yeah, that's how their names work. They're all good. But I
Why-
need to go back and check all these different voices that I cannot remember. The bat pony
What
who
is it
likes
with-
poker. The guy she plays poker with, the merchant who may or may not, or not, the night guard who may or may not have had a creepy relationship with Applejack, a fuck ton of griffins.
Oh my.
Why are griffins? What's with the griffins and names beginning with G all the time?
Ask Foss.
I don't know. I just noticed it, and I figured I'd run with it.
Yep.
I mean, even in the show, it was like Gilda, Gallus, Gabby.
Is there one called Griffoff?
Grandpa Gruff.
Gruff.
Stooges right there.
Griffoff. A freaking badass.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that's a name.
I
You
just
can.
read-
I mean,
Shit,
that's.
that reminds me though. I gotta rename some characters and spoilers.
Now I think of-
You know what? That's actually a valid question there, Blank. Since you're almost caught up to where you were when you began the rewrite, how many
Yeah.
chapters are after that point, roughly, that you can think of before Human Nature is officially complete? Like, how many
Okay,
chapters in total will the
so
story have?
Let's say we're like holding a physical copy of the finished product in our hands, right?
Which
Yeah.
I really want.
We like look at the chapter.
You cut out.
Blank, we cannot hear you.
You cut out.
He's having connection issues.
He was abducted. The Vashtanarada have ate him.
Oh dear.
Well, that means another 7 years waiting for human nature.
No!
You are morally obligated. You will
Oh,
never get away
shit.
from
No,
it.
no, I'm not morally
Oh, God.
obligated. I'm obsessive compulsively obligated.
Yep, he's
Oh,
there. He
there's
is.
Just two. Okay.
Yeah, there you are.
You kind of
So-
cut out after the whole. Okay, I'm holding the physical copy.
Okay. So, because like that's funny, because my computer
It's funny
turned
if
off.
he said it and the book just falls from the
Oh.
sky.
Oh, that's what happened.
It was just like from being idle because I'm not doing anything else other than being on a voice channel. But-
Nice.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, like, let's say you had the physical copy in your hand,
Mhm.
we'd be about a third of the way through right now.
Wow.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And I'm going to try to make that only
3,
half the way through
2,
because
1.
I'm looking through. Yeah.
There it is.
I think he's screaming into his pillow.
Mhm.
I don't blame him. What I was going to say is that.
Sorry about
I'm gonna
that.
try
I
to
had to
make it
go
half.
vent my stress from my soul.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Welcome
You have a
back.
soul?
Soul.
No,
Hey,
not
Hey, I look
anymore.
at my
I just
outfit.
vented it.
every time I pick up the story again, and I go through these exact same emotions, man. I've been going through this for 7 years.
You
That
poor
exact thing screaming into
unfortunate
the pillow.
soul.
You're nowhere closer. A little bit closer than you were in those 7 years.
Yeah. And
Clearly in pain and in need.
Act 3 is going to be a pain in the ass, but I'm going to figure it out, and then it's going to be. I'm not going to jinx it, because every time I say smooth sailing, everything goes wrong. So it's going to be horrible, and I'm going to hate every second of it.
No, see, that's just gonna make it worse. It's like Valet in episode 2 of Living Legacy. The shit's fucking cursed, I swear.
I mean, on the bright side, Sun's, barring the one exception where I disappeared for a year, is going swimmingly.
Speaking of Living Legacy,
We only
Oh,
have
come
we
on.
only have one more character's lines to get for Living Legacy, Lyra's, but the voice actress has been having trouble. She's got like a problem with her mouth. Her wisdom teeth are causing her trouble, and she has a surgery scheduled to take those out, and they're making it difficult for her to record for more than 15 minutes at a time. And as a VA myself, I can tell you 15 minutes is not enough to get basically anything done. So until that gets resolved, we're just waiting on her and her scatterbrainedness to remember, oh yeah, that's right, I'm part of a Doctor Who's audio drama project that I need to do voice lines for. Oh shit, I should probably...
was it her that we were waiting for last time? Or...
No, last time we were trying and failing routinely to find an actress to voice Valet, the filly who died.
Oh, yeah.
We finally managed to find one, and she was great!
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote. And spoilers, man. Don't talk about that shit.
I mean, technically, you haven't told me.
Shush, shush, shush,
anything.
shush, 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 shush.
I'm speculating
Whoa.
because, Mister, I don't want to tell anybody anything.
Well, that's how spoilers
think-
work!
I think we're trying to hit.
I mean,
think
you
we-
can trust me.
No.
You see, this is
No.
what I go through with FFD6. He doesn't say anything, and then when we finally see what he's been plotting for weeks, we all want to frickin' dogpile and beat the shit out of him.
That says we are doing my job right.
Mr. Hades,
Oh, the fun of
do you
being
want to
DM.
be? Do you want to be
Mercy.
salty the improv, or should we continue with improv with something else?
All right, fine. Let's go on to
Topics.
F56
Right.
and let's talk
I
about
mean,
us
on the bright
killing a
side, we killed
giant.
like 30 minutes.
Took us
So-
30
Yeah.
minutes to
Should
get to
be good
the,
now.
It took us 30 minutes to get to the FFD6 recap. Holy shit. Okay. I tried to segue us into that earlier with when we were talking about rope binding together the gamer's thing, but that didn't pan out.
Hey,
No.
speaking of
We
which,
do not speak
No.
of rope. Rope
No,
is
no, no,
not
no.
a word that
You-
we are allowed to use in this
You
game.
you hold on a fat fucking second there, Blank. Don't
Come
you
on, we don't need to insult the Rope Knight. I mean, Dark Knight.
Can I borrow that rope now?
Is it to make a noose?
I swear, Tone. he's
Yes,
gonna
but
string
it
him
ain't
with.
gonna be for me.
I
No.
swear, Tone. He's
Okay,
gonna
now I
string him with
actually
you
wanna know
some
what's going on.
rope.
so
But don't
There
lose
was
yourself
it's
by
a running
accident.
gag in our campaign way back to the first session where we were supposed.
Thanatos' very first roll was an awareness check.
my very first basic roll in the game. It was a scavenge thing just to look for rope to help the
Well,
others
you
get
can
up a
find
wall.
it.
And you rolled a
He-
critical
I
failure.
failed on the roll.
So we just went and
And
stared at a
perfect.
box full of sex toys for 10 minutes before coming back.
I did not
Actually, it was a
mention
barrel.
the sex toys. That was his idea.
Yeah.
Barrel.
I thought it was my idea.
for
No.
'You
10
weren't
minutes,
part of the
wow, you're really
campaign.
invested.
Hmm.
I know. but I think
Congratulations.
One time after we were talking about it here in Jibber Jabber, I said it was a box of sex.
I don't know, and I honestly don't care. I wish it would die, but Tom will not let it die.
I'm not the
You
only one.
British-
Everyone else keeps poking fun at you at it because you're just
You
so easy.
British twat, I know you are going to listen to this eventually. I know, and this is a message for you, you British twat.
Perfect. I love it.
And with that note,
And with that,
SFE
we go back
sits
to
recap.
us killing a behemoth. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
After he had his laughing.
Okay. Okay. So.
Deep breaths.
All right. So.
Get it out. I believe
Shut
you.
up, shut up before I lose it again. So, in today's
Never.
session, the party had, where we last left off, the party had journeyed north about a day's travel from this desert city of Kurzatan to maintain appearances and deliver, supposedly, a parcel to some hidden group that works with the crime lord family, the Vinaldi clan. In moving up north to get there, they briefly rendezvoused with Fane Pharaoh, their contact and ally-ish in the city, who happens to, for reasons she very much hates, is in the employ of the Vinaldi clan, who is acting as sort of a double agent, helping the party while pretending to help the Vinaldis. The party was sent north to deliver a parcel to some hidden camp of allies, but upon arrival discovered that it was long, long abandoned, with dead animal carcasses shoveled off into the back. When the party realized that something was afoot, a lumbering adolescent sand behemoth came onto the scene, and that was where today's session started, with an hour-long boss fight against a pissed-off behemoth. The battle was lengthy, difficult, but in the end, the party was victorious, tearing down the behemoth and collecting its horns to sell for moolah, since they only had like 62 gil, and that is nothing. That's barely enough to buy 3 potions.
Indeed.
So,
Also, I'd like to say the way it died. Ooh.
Brutality.
Yeah.
People say the Dark Knight is the gory one, who's like always loves the freaking just rip people apart. No, Rocket
Yes.
literally
our
did a rocket through its neck.
Yes, our adorable nut-cracking chocobo made use of her new ability to fly at will to launch herself up into the air as the creature was on its last legs, and used one of her limit abilities, Meteor Rain, to fly down and use her beak like the point of a lance or drill and pierce through the back of the behemoth's neck and come exploding out of its throat, damn near beheading it and definitely killing it. It was.
I would be surprised if anything could survive that.
It definitely didn't.
Also, Tone, since it's over, how much health did it have when she did that?
800. It had like 51 hit points when she killed it. Also, I just forgot. I forgot to have it cast Comet.
Oh.
It's
No.
supposed to cast Comet when it dies. I totally forgot about that.
Time to retcon.
No, too late.
What's Comet again?
Comet. It's a black magic spell or time magic spell that calls down a bunch of small rocks to attack everyone in the enemy group. It's a random number, like some number of d6s of comets, and each one does a flat amount of damage. Like
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
The one in
We
Monster
got
Hunter
a
did that. Only it didn't do that when it died. It did that when it
something.
never damn
Oh, well.
pleased.
Like the living failures in
And
Bloodborne.
that's what you had to hide behind whenever it used Eclipse Meteor to basically nuke the entire area.
in this case, it doesn't have Ecliptic Meteor. It just has Comet as its death ability.
And he didn't give it Charybdis. Thank God.
Too young for that, and I don't even really know what Charybdis does.
It's a wind spell that basically makes a vortex and makes it hard to see. It knocks people off balance, and
That's everyone.
it's just very annoying.
Fair enough. Well, anyways, once the behemoth was felled, the party linked back up with Fane Pharaoh, who confirmed that she had no idea that thing was there, and communicated with the rest of the party, discerning that the letter that Cedric had given the party to deliver was written in a code and ultimately amounted to nothing. They had been sent to be killed, it would seem. Nevertheless, this actually works in their favor. The party encouraged Fane to return to Kurzatan and report that the behemoth had been killed, and furthermore, report the party's location, with the intent being that the Vinaldis would send higher-ranking, more powerful individuals after the party. Since, seeing as the party successfully took down 2 lieutenants 2 plot arcs ago, they're not going to be sending a band of common regular thugs to bring the party in. They need someone with more grit and tough and made of tougher stuff. So, with that in mind, Fane splintered away from everyone else to make the return trip to Kurzatan, while everyone else hunkered down to get in some rest and refill their water supply. Finding a reliable means of refilling their water took most of the rest of the hour we had for that session, along with scouting out a new location to hunker down and use as an ambush point for the enemies that would no doubt be coming for them. And as the party was linking back up with new water and 2,200 gil, because Mika sold the behemoth horns for 1,100 each, and then spent 100 of that said gil to replenish the group's water supply at a nearby settlement, a village, the party hunkered down and got ready to wait, and that was where we left off. So, Hades, Darkness, you two were there, you were playing. Do you have anything else you want to bring up, talk about, mention, speculate on, anything at all?
I find it hilarious that when I sent Mika and Rocket, just figured, okay, they're just going to go to the place, get water, and come back. No, freaking Mika goes, we probably shouldn't steal water from these guys. We should buy it at night.
I mean, she's like the nicest person in the group.
I just enjoyed the
My
whole
face
communication.
says otherwise. I'm pretty sure I still have a mark from that fucking slap way back when.
No, you don't. That faded within like 5 minutes.
I make one. I make one cat joke and then I get freaking bitch slapped.
It was cosmic slap felt throughout time.
I mean, here's the thing. The reason she
mark is
slapped
long
you
gone,
is
but-
because that was a legitimately offensive thing. It was
Just a cat joke.
unintentional.
It wasn't that bad.
No, but it was still, in the eyes of a Mithra, an incredibly racist thing.
Okay, blank for
The bitch
context.
slap felt.
For
throughout
context,
the
blank. The
universe.
joke was, don't cats
no.
usually get stuck in trees?
Yeah. Back in the second plot arc, the party was making their way through up north along a river with a forest to their side, and as they were making their way and coming back from a little mission they were doing on the side for money and to pass time while they were waiting for something new order to be done, at one point as they were going, whenever there's a tree nearby and the party stops to camp, Neothil will hop up into the trees for her watch. Being a ranger, she's used to moving around in trees, apparently.
Right.
So she would do that, and as they were making their way on their return trip, she suggested to Mika, who those two are at the time were kind of slowly starting to develop a sort of a pseudo-ish relationship thing going. Nee suggested that next time they share a watch, she and Mika should join her up in the tree, and Mika said that would probably be nice. And then Thanatos, and it's worth noting, Mika is a cat lady, a Mithra. And then, of course, Thanatos, as Hades already pointed out, chipped in from the side. Don't cats usually get stuck in trees? Oblivious to the fact that such a remark in the context of Ino is considered incredibly racist.
I like it. Good job, Hades.
And ever since then, I just apparently am the racist bastard.
You've just kind of become the butt monkey of the group. You keep making offhanded remarks that get you in trouble.
That's great.
A thing actually said to a Japanese person once in real life.
Oh, my best friend's half Japanese. Be careful, Paladin.
I made the comment.
Let him talk, Darkness.
Okay.
I made the comment to don't Japanese look younger than they actually are? Like, they're old, but yet they look so much younger.
I
That's not
mean,
near as bad.
that's not. That's in
Okay,
context. That's
well-
really not an insult.
It's more just an uninformed inquisition.
I mean,
Right.
it's not
No, it's bad, but I
entirely
feel it.
right, but
Like the whole
Yeah.
good at math thing. It's not an insult per se. It's just
it's stereotypical, but not really an
Yeah.
insult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
and the
that
guy
being said, let's not try
who
to
is actually also my coworker, one of my coworkers back in my last job, walks away, and the cashier, right? Not offensive. You should go apologize. It's like, was it?
I mean, You probably could have for stereotyping, but again, it's not.
I mean, if the person
offensive.
you said it to isn't the person who was telling you to apologize, I
You
think
don't
you're
really
okay.
have to.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were insulted by it, which I don't know why they would be, then yes, I would say you should go fucking apologize. But
Like, hey, you look young for your age. Well, fuck you too, pal.
Eh.
was it a man or a woman you said that to?
With a man.
Okay.
People
Depending on how
thought
old
I
you've
was
been,
younger.
I
For
guess.
some reason, that was important at all.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
my
mean-
God, that reminds me of one time I went to one of my friends turned like 18 a few years back.
Guess we're going back
and
into improv here.
we
All
went
right.
to,
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shoot! Sorry, I can stop this.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. The more we talk, the better.
Yeah.
If you have something you
Well,
want to,
then-
if you have a story, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's barely one. We went to a hibachi place, and as the chef was making it, we were all making jabs at the guy for it being his birthday, and the cook, who was Japanese, like, so, oh, how old are you? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm like 18 or 19. He's like, no, you 16, because the guy's got, at the time, he had a bad case of baby face, I guess. It was just funny. Reminded me of it.
No, you 16. Okay, you know what? That actually reminds me of something I am not proud of from my own past. It's kind of embarrassing.
Well, believe me, I've got
Down the
I
rabbit
can
hole we
think
go.
of another story that I did that too, but it was completely different reason.
Okay, so what it amounts to is one time when I was like still in high school, I was like 15 or 14 or so. My folks took me to get my hair cut. And you know, I tend to be chatty with the barbers as I'm getting my hair cut. You know, I talk about shit as they're working, and so do they. You know, they listen, they make their own remarks. It's fun small talk, you know, that kind of thing. Just, anyways, when it was done and I was getting up, I misheard what the nice lady doing my hair said. I thought she was asking me for my age, and as I was standing up and getting my glasses back on, I recited my age. I think it was like 15 at the time, and then I hear, no, 19 from behind me. I turn around, I was like, no, I'm 15. No, 19. No, 15. And then my mom cuts and is like, she was telling you how much your haircut would cost, honey. Oh.
I bargaining skills.
I
Those Kedarvas here.
I turned so red. I can't see my own face without a mirror, but I can tell you right now, I was a tomato.
Kedarva standing his ground. No, I'm only paying $15.
Well, now we know that even back then he was a stubborn bastard.
No,
Another
back then I just
one,
misheard.
That reminds me of that
And
one
yet
story I
you
got
argue
pulled over.
about it.
What was the paladin?
That reminds me of that one story I got pulled over by a cop.
For what?
I would hope it's a cop. If you really off if it was someone else.
I mean, you know, on the highway they have those turns that you do not turn on.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no
I
U-turn.
missed my turn, so I went on. So the thing was just like, oh, I can turn on that one, head back around.
Oh,
As soon as I do, the lights of a cop car are on me.
Wait, was this
And-
like a grass median, like on a highway?
Yeah,
Like in the middle of the highway, there's like a deal of grass in between the.
No, it was
two
a
lanes.
paved road in the middle, I believe.
Okay.
Because I was about to say, if it was something like that, cops usually just sit on those grass medians and wait for somebody to try to do that.
I have no fucking clue, but I know at the time I was running on like a couple hours of sleep, and I was heading to
You didn't cuss him out, did you?
no, better than any cussing out. You know, he comes up to me, he's like, "You know why I pulled you over? No, you made that U-turn." And asked for my license, and then he asked for my my car insurance, whatever, thing I go through. I could not find it. And that's where the conversation got interesting, because then he's like, who do you run through? And it's like, is he asking me, do I run through my parents or me? Because I'm saying me to his question. He's like, no, what do you mean you run through you?
Just a nice case of misunderstanding, huh?
Yeah.
What was he ultimately asking?
Like,
Like,
what
he
insurance
wanted to know what
provider do you go
insurance I
through?
ran through.
Oh, your insurance, right?
Like Geico,
Yeah.
Allstate,
Yeah,
whatnot.
like that. And then he ends up asking me, like, where am I going? And I was like, I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know anymore.
Listen, I'm running on a couple hours of sleep. I am ready to just snooze.
Shoot, that reminds me. I actually got to print out my.
Because we were
Insurance
meeting up
card.
at one of my aunts, and then we're all gonna go to one of my cousin's graduations.
Hmm.
He was graduating that year, and yeah. But yeah, I end up. And as he's about to walk away, I was like, "Hey, you let me go if I give you $20, then you let me go."
Oh no!
No,
In the end, he ends up letting me go with a
Did you
warning.
bribe a freaking police officer?
Paladin, that only works in the movies. You can't do that. That's illegal.
I'm saying that. What is that? A
My mind
misdemeanor?
was not working, Hades. You have to understand.
I'd say
No, we don't. We understand. We know who you're
That's it.
talking about.
I know what you're saying. Blank, is that a misdemeanor or a felony?
Oh, jeez, I'm not.
Did
I'm
he
not a
let
lawyer.
you go?
Yeah, he let me go with just a warning.
Okay.
And then I end up making a correct turn to where I was supposed to go.
Nice.
And then,
Yeah,
and then as soon as I get up and I go to my dad, he's like, "You're driving."
Wow.
Like-
Wise choice.
Nah,
Yeah.
I've never been pulled over.
I've got pulled over
Yeah.
3 times.
I don't.
And I'm
I can't drive,
keep it
so
at
I
that.
have never been pulled over. But
Well,
I
I mean,
have
I
been in
figured-
cars that were pulled over. So
I could drive, but I don't have a license.
How about
No, wait.
you could
Only
wait?
twice.
Darkness. Hold on, back up a second. You said you have a license.
No,
You
I said
can't-
I can drive.
You can
But I
drive, but
haven't.
you don't have a
have a
license.
No,
Those two
Wait, aren't
things
you
do
British?
not go together, Darkness.
I don't have.
I should make a joke about that. I'm sorry. I take it back.
That's it. All right. Blank. Next question. Have all those been for speeding tickets or?
No, it's. So I take it back. I only got pulled over twice. I just thought I got. So it was real funny. Funny story. First time I thought I got pulled over, it was over in some back roads highway going through middle of nowhere, Arkansas, and I was taking my friend to do a little potluck thing that a church was doing. They do really well, and all of a sudden there's flashing lights behind us in the middle of nowhere, like no one else is on the road. Like, oh shit, we're getting pulled over. So I slow down, go over to the side of the road, and the cop is slowing down too. And we're both looking at each other like, holy fuck, what did I do wrong? And the cop keeps creeping up, and then passes us and takes the road right in front of us that we stopped at. Just bad luck on that.
so he kind of
Second
fucked
one.
with you then.
Yeah. The second one I got pulled over for because I was matching the speed of a cop because we stopped at a red light, and I didn't want to go too fast. So I went like at the speed limit, but then she was going at the speed limit too. I was like, oh, okay, this is a little weird. I'll speed up a bit. So I went 5 over the speed limit. And then she went 5 over the speed limit. Like, oh, okay, I guess I'll slow down a bit. And then she slowed down a bit too at the
Jesus.
exact same time. And next thing I know, I'm pulled over for impeding the flow of traffic when we were the only ones on the road. I didn't get a ticket.
Impeding the flow of
Warning.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Man, your cop was it highway patrol or was it a city cop?
I was a city cop.
I'm about to say. In my experience, highway patrolmen are always the assholes.
Yeah. I mean, I was in uniform at the time, so I think I gave me some brownie points. Like, hey, I'm just trying to go to work.
I'm about to say, did you flash them your badge or whatever and say, "Oh, hey, look at that"?
No, but they saw the Air Force name tape,
That's like-
so
The Air Force is like, "Oh, well, thank you for your service. You can go on."
yeah, hey, thank you for yours. Stopping that flow of traffic. We're the only cars on the road.
I'm about to say, it's such bull.
Snyder
Yeah,
marks
the-
are allowed. I've
Yeah.
only been in a car that's been pulled over I think like twice, maybe 3 times.
Was it for speeding?
No. The first one I can recall, my dad was driving me and my family home from the movies back to town, or either that or back from Squim, a neighboring town where where we do some of our shopping. Either way, we were outside of town and we got pulled over because I think one of my dad's tabs was out of date on his license plate. So he was pulled over to have that get addressed, and then he was let go with the go fix that. I think there was another time that that my dad got pulled over while I was in the car with him, but I don't remember. But the most recent instance was actually only a year or two before my brother moved away. I think maybe a little more. It's hard to tell. I just know he was still around, but we got pulled over, and apparently it's because I think one of his lights was out.
Yeah.
And he didn't know. So the officer pointed, did you know one of your lights is out? Oh, shit, did not.
That reminds me of a story that happened to a coworker of mine on Christmas Eve. Listen to this shit.
Shit, all right.
So Christmas Eve, our boss bought us breakfast at IHOP, and then was going to give us the rest of the day off, and then Christmas. And it was like, okay, cool. So we all get there, and my coworker Randy, he comes in a little later than everybody, and we're like, oh hey, what took you so long, man? And he says the moment that he pulled out of his driveway, a freaking cop grabs him, like stops him right there, and gives him a ticket on Christmas Eve. You know what it was for?
Having a light out.
Because his tag light was out.
The hell's a tag
Gotta
light?
meet those end of the year quotas.
It's a light just
Wait,
above your license plate, so even in the dark you can see the license plate.
Ah.
I don't think a lot of vehicles have those.
Well,
there are a lot that don't, but
it was an older vehicle, but still.
yeah.
On Christmas Eve for a tag light, and caught him right as he was going out of his driveway. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, that is nothing short of a dick move.
We're done with improv?
Yeah,
We have
before.
Here's the thing: we only got like 7 minutes left, so we don't have enough time to launch into more Crimson stuff or any of the other topics we had lined up.
Well, to be fair, the one I suggested was like about 5 minutes.
Well, there was the whole why he's not a brony thing. We can squeeze it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, as some of you may know, Darkness here has been a recurring member of Jibber Jabber for a long ass time now, and he's also one of my patrons. Yet, interestingly enough, he's not a brony. He has very little investment in the actual series, and I can only assume by extension that lack of interest extends to my readings, which is confusing. Like, I've long just assumed everyone in this server was a brony because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. So, Darkness, educate us. Why the hell are you here?
Yes, it's quite the twist.
What the twist? Hello, Shamalama.
Yes, Shyamalan, what a twist. Okay.
What the hell?
Right. The very subject I was a bit confused about, but I feel like it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Yes, I am not a brony and not a brony because you can thank my childhood, which would make it brief. In my childhood, I was considered as what I would call myself a arrogant little bastard, and even basically was not easily impressed by most stuff, unfortunately.
Okay.
The only thing that actually caught my attention at the time, thanks to my family, was some of the old style music, like what people would formerly known as guitar gods, a load of instrumental stuff. Then I got into like rock and metal bands and a few stuff like that. And then partially down the line, a few other things like friends, which introduced me to new things. But then one day, in the year 2012, one of my new friends come running up to me talking about stuff which I'm not completely unaware of. He had a bit of a shocked look on his face, and then he decided to grab hold of my shoulder and drag me to his house. Like, oh, why? You don't have to drag me, man. I'm here. So after that awkward moment, I feel like I'm being forced against my will somewhere, which is well, He introduced me to something, and I was like, okay, where is it? It's there. Where? What, behind your sister's?
It's in the jar.
Yeah, behind your sister's collection? This is my collection. Oh.
Oh.
I'm upset no one got my jar reference.
Which I couldn't really think of what to say at that time. I just thought
It was a plushies and ponies collection, wasn't it?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I never got to that point, and I'm glad. That was always like taking it a step too far in my book.
I
And
don't
then
have
he
a
said
plushie
it's the
so far
biggest
either,
new.
so.
He says it's the biggest new thing.
I
that-
actually bought a plushie at BronyCon.
That's different. That's just memory right there.
Mm. So yeah, he
It
told
was
me it's a
blackjack.
whole big thing that came from. Okay. Yeah. He told me it's a whole big thing that started off in America, now it's coming over here. It's like, okay, I take your word for it.
Well, technically, it started in Vancouver.
Vancouver. Where's that?
Well, that's what he just said.
It's
and
technically a part of Canada.
Ah,
It's British
so over
Columbia.
time, I've been hearing it for the last 2 years, and even come across a random news report about the fandom, but like, which in the year 2014, eventually, with all the frustration and confusion, curiosity got the best of me. So at one point, I sat down and give it a watch, thanks to YouTube actually having the first 2 episodes. Although I guess this is the time before they decide to take down random stuff because of copyright claims. So I watched the 2 episodes. Didn't really pique my interest, and some reason the part that rubbed me off a bit wrong. But I wasn't going to give up, especially since I found out at that time there were like around 4 seasons. So I thought, blimey, it must be doing well for 4 seasons. So who knows? Maybe I'll find out the big fascination if I just continue to the 4th season. And by this time, I didn't have much work as I used to. So yeah, I went through a whole montage of it all.
Whole montage.
And for some strange reason, which I was just weird, didn't feel really much nothing. Still, nothing that connected me to the show. It was just strange. I just couldn't figure it out. It wasn't through any form of emotional love or hate. I just couldn't think why.
You just weren't
didn't click.
interested.
That's the only thing I could easily think of. But how did I get to this point? Well, didn't take that long at all, really. One time when I went into town, the first content I come across of the fandom was an accident. My thumb misclicked on my phone on a music video, Toast the Nightmare Night, I believe, which for some reason the tune got stuck in my head and I liked the song, and this fandom interested me in other things.
Okay, so you're not interested in the show, but you're interested in the fandom around the show. Am I understanding that right?
Yes, I don't know. I guess it is.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay,
okay. If that's the case.
but just to say that I have come across some strange stuff, it's like, okay, maybe that's a bit far.
I mean,
oh man,
happens.
we weren't.
That's every
people in the
fandom.
fandom.
That's
I
every
know the
fandom in a
story.
nutshell.
Yeah,
You
but-
name one fandom that's weird.
Right, but here's the thing. If you're in the fandom, like because of the stuff that's made in it, even if you're not necessarily into the show itself, that does make you a sort of subset of Brony. You're not like one of the main ones, so to speak. You're not like part of the main bulk crowd who watch the show. But
I
you're
mean-
part. But you're
Was that a
definitely.
pun?
But you're definitely part of the community, and I think that means that at least if on an honorary level, you get the title Brony. At least from me. So
I mean,
Yeah, it is.
there's a lot of
Hmm.
big names in the fandom that don't even watch the whole show.
yeah, I mean,
Really?
yeah. But yeah. So with that figured out. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in. It's time for us to cut this episode, so we'll see you next time, people. Keep listening.
Mm.
Bye.
And to
Hellos.
finish off,
Peace out.
I will say this. Thank you for getting me interested in fanfics.
You are
We'll see
welcome.
you next weekend.
You are welcome.